Number 10, Animal Crossing, the original one on the GameCube. This is purely a nostalgia pick, but I played this game a lot as a kid, and I have some really, really fond memories. I'm not sure if this is a feature that has actually been carried over into the newer Animal Crossing games, but on the original GameCube version, the GameCube had two different memory card slots, and you could actually have two different towns on the same machine on each memory card. And then there's a train in the game where you could travel between each town. And as a kid, I remember my sister had her own town, and then later I got my own town. And it was really funny because her town was always very, very nice. She would pave the roads, she would pick the weeds, she would always do the chores for her villagers. Meanwhile, I would just bully my villagers. My town would become dilapidated and run down, and eventually all of the villagers from my town started moving to her town, and then they would just talk shit about my town. And I will always remember that. They felt like real people. Rossetti, will always remember him. I think I brought him up in a previous video. I think it taught me a lot of patience as a kid. Wasn't really about winning, it was just kind of about existing. And I will never forget this one. At number 9, Bloodborne. So I absolutely love Souls games, but Bloodborne I think is my favorite one for a couple reasons. Number one, the atmosphere of this game, the kind of gothic, Lovecraftian horror atmosphere, I think it's just so good. It's one of my favorite aesthetics. I really like the aggressive combat in this game. In like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, you have a shield. This game famously does not have a shield. It has like a rally system where you have like a gun and you can shoot them as they're about to attack and get back health. It incentivizes you to play a lot more aggressively, which I think I just mesh with a lot better as a person. I absolutely love the combat in this game. Some of the bosses are, I think, some of the best bosses ever designed in any game. This is just such a classic. I don't like that it's a little bit shorter than some of the other Souls games. It also absolutely sucks that it's still locked to PlayStation to this day. It's been out for like 12 years. I did get the opportunity to play it on an emulator earlier this year, and that was actually a pretty solid experience. There was a couple places that it had some issues, specifically in the DLC, but overall, it was a pretty solid experience for being on the PC. Of course, I do have like a really good computer, so I'm not sure how viable that is, but I hear that it's getting better all the time, and I definitely would check that one out if you guys have not. At number 8, Minecraft. This is just such a classic game. It's one I've kind of started to play again recently, a little bit more casually. I feel like every friend group has some sort of Minecraft story or some sort of 2-week Minecraft phase, right? This is one I played a ton as a kid. The creative aspect of it, I think, is really, really cool. And obviously, I'm not alone in this. It's one of the most successful games of all time. The soundtrack is so good. C418 is one of my favorite artists. I was on YouTube Music. It said I was like in his top 0.01% of listeners last year. So obviously, I'm a big fan of the Minecraft soundtrack. I think it's probably my favorite soundtrack of all time. This is one I feel like you can always come back to after a couple years, and it has survived and remained relevant basically since its launch. So I absolutely had to include this one. At number 7, Portal 2. Portal 2 is a great game. I would put the original Portal, I'd kind of lump that in here. The original Portal was very, very short though. Portal 2 is also a pretty short game, but I think it's like twice the length. It's about 8 hours, which is pretty solid. It doesn't waste your time at all, which I appreciate. As a puzzle game, it is phenomenal. I think it is one of the best puzzle games of all time. To be honest, the writing in this game is really good. The ending is super, super memorable. This is one I would recommend to basically anyone trying to get into video games. I think it was one of the first ones I played, and yeah, I will still go back to it occasionally to this day. It is such a phenomenal puzzle game. I wish they would make a sequel, Valve, please. And number 6, Fortnite. Yeah, I know. So Fortnite is one I played a lot back in the day. I don't go back to this one so much now. I do still sometimes watch the competitive events because I think competitive Fortnite, especially in the building mode, is really, really interesting. Some of the build battles that they have and the way like there's like a tiny, tiny little circle, and there will still be like tens of players still in like these final zones, and some of the strats they have to use I think is really brilliant, and I think it really sets it apart from every other battle royale game. I think it's very easy to get into. I do kind of hate that it has kind of just become an ad now. Back when I played it, it seemed like most of the skins were original. Like I think they had like Thanos at one point. They had like a John Wick skin, but for the most part, it was like all original stuff. I don't really like what it has become in that aspect, but I have to acknowledge, I think the way that it is able to consistently have new content and come out with updates every week, like big updates too, I think is really, really impressive. And I would be remiss if I did not mention this one on here. As much of a meme as it has become, some of my favorite memories were playing this game back in the day, and it is one that I still think holds up even though it has become an ad. At number 6, I'm going to kind of cheat here, and I'm going to put 2, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Both of these games are pretty similar. I think Tears of the Kingdom is probably the better game, but Breath of the Wild basically established all of the core concepts that Tears of the Kingdom later used and just built upon further. So I don't think it's really fair to rank them in that way. If I was going to go back to one, it would probably be Tears of the Kingdom. I think the building mechanic in that game is so impressive, and it blew my mind when I first played it. I think it's still extremely impressive. Thing I really love about these games is just that feeling of complete freedom. You see a point on the map or something way out in the distance, you can go there. I absolutely love that, just the feeling of exploration. This is something I think Breath of the Wild actually did a little bit better, because in Tears of the Kingdom, you had like these big towers that could like launch you way up into the sky, and you could just kind of glide over to wherever you wanted to go. In Breath of the Wild, you actually had to climb the mountain. You had to run over there, and it was a little bit harder to do. So I felt like the world in Breath of the Wild felt a little bit bigger because of that, because you didn't have these big fucking launch towers that could send you basically anywhere. But these games really, they had like the intro section, but after that, they didn't really hold your hand at all. You could go to the final boss instantly, which I really loved. I don't like that they really punish you. I think some of the shrines are kind of lame as well. In both games, I think they both have that problem. Tears of the Kingdom, I think, did the shrines a little bit better. Overall, though, just the pure open world of these games, I think it did it incredibly well. At number 4, this is a weird pick, but I'm going with Call of Duty Black Ops 3. This is a game I think I have behind like maybe the top spots on this list. It is one of the games I have the most amount of hours in, specifically the Zombies mode. I think this is when Call of Duty Zombies was at its absolute peak. The maps in this game are so incredibly fun. I have so many memories just going and doing the Easter eggs and running around, having a blast with friends, collecting the fucking gumballs, even though they were fucking microtransactions and very predatory. Not one of my favorite things about it. Thought the multiplayer was pretty good too. I grinded for Dark Matter back in the day, and I like the advanced movement on it. Not something I go back to, especially because this game is like, I think, very broken on PC. Like, do not play this without like certain like extensions and things that patch your game so that you're not going to get hacked into. It's a very big issue that Call of Duty has on the PC. I absolutely hate it. I cannot stand Activision as a company. But Black Ops 3 has custom zombies maps, and I think as a solo experience for zombies, it's very good. I am just such a huge sucker for zombies. It kind of was my introduction to roguelikes in general. I think some of the little Easter eggs and some of the hidden content, there were a bunch of like little ciphers and like codes hidden across these maps and things you'd have to decrypt, some of which still have not been solved to this day, which I think is really, really cool. This is probably going to be the most controversial one on here, but I absolutely love Call of Duty Zombies, and I think Black Ops 3 is when it was at its best. At number 3, Terraria. Terraria is a phenomenal game. I think Minecraft as a like survival game doesn't even come close to the masterpiece that is Terraria. It's basically 2D Minecraft, but I think the systems and the mechanics in this game are just way better. There are so many memorable boss fights, and the progression in this game is so incredible. When you fight the Wall of Flesh and you think you're finally going to be done, but psych, you're only about a third of the way through the game and hard mode starts, and then you have all of the shit, and you're basically back to being at square one. I think that was one of the best feelings I've ever had as a player playing a game. It's another one that has been supported very well throughout the years. I think it's still getting updates. I know they keep saying that it's a final update, the final Terraria update, but they have said that for like the last 5 years. So I don't know. I feel like it's probably always going to get updates, to be honest. There is such a massive amount of content in this game, and it doesn't feel bloated at all. Every playthrough feels completely different. There's different things you can do every time. Again, you have that sense of creativity too, because you can build whatever. Some people are very, very proficient at building in this game. I usually just build little shacks for my NPCs, but the fact that it encourages you to actually build houses for the NPCs, where Minecraft, you can just kind of dig a hut in a cave and you're fine. It doesn't really encourage you to be creative in the same way that Terraria does. I absolutely love this game. I think it's a great multiplayer experience too. And yeah, this is just one of the best games of all time. Absolutely. At number 2, this one probably shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that has seen my main channel. It is going to be Risk of Rain 2. This is the game that completely changed my life and career forever. Back in 2020, I made a video on this game. It blew up, and that basically launched my entire YouTube career. That said, I absolutely love this game on top of it. It is one that I think I have near 10,000 hours in, which is just insane. By far the most out of any on this list. The synergies and the skill ceiling in this game is so incredible. It has an absurd amount of content. All of the survivors feel really good to play, and they're all very different. I have made some of the best friends in my life from this game, and it is something I will always cherish. It's one, unfortunately, that like after playing it for 10,000 hours is one that is a little bit harder to go back to for me, but I still will occasionally. And I love this game so much, as you can tell by the absurd amount of videos I've made on it on my main channel. So yeah, that's Risk of Rain 2. Absolutely phenomenal game. And at number 1, this probably isn't going to be a surprise to a lot of people. I'm going to kind of cheat here again and go with 2 games, but I'm going to have to say Slay the Spire 1 and 2. These games are so incredible. This game has completely consumed my brain for thousands of hours. Every run feels different despite being incredibly simple. It's a very easy to learn game. It's very, very simple, but it is, I think, nearly impossible to master. The skill ceiling in this game, it's high in Risk of Rain 2, but I think it is just next level in Slay the Spire. And like the fact that sometimes removing a card from your deck and not always adding something is the best choice, I think, adds a completely new dimension of it. You have to think about the composition of your deck overall, and there's so many different decisions at every different point in every combat. There's so much that goes into every single run, and I think it does deck building incredibly well. To be fair, I haven't played a lot of other deck builder roguelikes, but this was the original one, and Slay the Spire 2 obviously is building on it in a lot of ways. I do think the original one is probably the more complete game as of now, but that's only because Slay the Spire 2 is still being worked on, and it doesn't quite have the balance that the first game did, and it doesn't have like an ending yet, which the first game obviously had. Regardless though, both of these games are super, super good, and if I'm going to pick up a game, it's most likely going to be Slay the Spire 2 right now. Risk of Rain 2 and Slay the Spire are by far and away above every other game on this list, just because they have hooked me and grabbed me in a way that no other game has. I think I've been quite addicted to them, to be honest, and it makes me excited to make content again, and I just absolutely love these games. These, I'm not saying, are necessarily the best games of all time, but these are definitely the ones that have had the biggest impact on me, I would say, and they happen to be my favorite. So that's going to be all for me today. Thank you guys for watching.